Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Let's talk today about steroids. So back 4.5 months ago, when I was a lazy POS, drinking every night and smoking cigarettes, I had highly considered doing steroids at the onset just to get things going. You know, I wasn't just considering it. I did all the research and I know all the bro science. Hey, look at me, bro science PhD, right? And I even bought stuff. So we'll talk about that. But here's the crazy part is I just wanted results quick because we live in a digital age, right? I'm sure some people have thought, hey, you know, whether it's like at the beginning or at the end of their, or rather middle or end or whatever of their fitness journey, you know, current day, going, hey, well, look at the bar is so high today, you know, you gotta be able to keep up. I mean, look at all these people. Luckily I don't have any of this stuff like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat and whatever else all these people are on getting all this info, but there's a lot of jacked dudes, right? Well, the bar's high, better get jacked, right? Well, I was thinking that too. So luckily I did something smart in all this silly thinking, and that was get a blood test. Okay, so I picked basically everything like sports related that they had for this blood test. So I'm checking all my levels, hormones, heart, you know, organ function, stuff like that, just to make sure I'm healthy, good to go. Let's get this party going. I mean, hell, I got 10 to 15 pounds of muscle to gain in the next 4 months on this stuff, so I better know a little bit. Well, here's what's interesting. So just like in my first video, how I discovered Mike Mentzer's training method on accident, and how I said, hey, if this doesn't work, you know, well, I was willing to at least try it, right? So I if you don't know, I currently work out for only 45 minutes a week. So I do one workout a week. But going on to this thing, basically, I discovered on accident that I have what's called a high lipoprotein A and B ratio, which basically is it's like an indicator of heart failure and stroke probability. So it's really bad if you're high in this. And guess who was high? This guy, because of all the years of smoking and drinking I've been doing. So mine was at like 0.9, which is like the floorboard of the highest degree. So I basically was at 4.5 months ago, of the highest degree of heart and stroke risk. So yeah, I think that rate is like 0.9 through 0.95. So basically, health wasn't really a factor to me, because here's what happened. I said, well, okay, I'll just get off all this junk. And then in 3 months, when my levels fall and I'm, quote, healthy, I'll just get on some gear and it'll just raise back up, but I'm willing to take the risk, right? Modern world we live in, got to get jacked. Okay. So I waited. I literally had all this stuff. But here, and I mean, I did all the research, man. I had all the post-cycle treatment stuff, everything. I was ready to take drugs to come off of it, all that jazz. Okay? I never took it, and I'm not gonna take it. Here's why. Actually, let's talk about what is not a factor for me. Okay, so health clearly wasn't a factor for me. Short-term or long-term. I was willing to risk the stroke and the heart attack risk after I'd like lowered it a bit, but I was still ready to go back up to what I was at, which is dangerous levels. And then hair's not a factor for me. Like, I have really long, good hair. Like, it's thick. It's never going away. Well, I hope not, but basically no one in my family has that issue. It's just not a thing for us. So okay, so those are not factors for me, but they're factors for plenty of people. Here is a factor, and I'll talk about a few more why I chose not to do it. Okay, so you grow ridiculously fast. You will look like a freak, okay? I literally took a walk today. and I just see these guys who I know for a fact that they took this stuff. All right. They are huge. Now, maybe they just progressively overloaded for 25 years. That is entirely possible. They still look like a freak. Okay. And anything testosterone, anything anabolic steroids, you will look like a freak. Okay. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to do a bodybuilding program. I have now curtailed that to building a nice physique. What that is basically just big shoulders, nice upper chest, well-developed lats, visible abs because you're lean, a small waist, right? So you get the nice V-taper. And then some developed legs so you don't look like a twig leg. But that makes your waist look small, looks good, right? So anyway, so that even if you do all these drugs and do that, you still will look like a freak. You will look unproportioned. You will look unnatural, okay? And the reason is because you're not, and it is fake. So people who don't even go to the gym know that those people look ridiculous. Now, if you look at them, you might not even be able to see what is wrong, but you instinctively do, okay? And the thing is, part of building a physique is you want to look nice, and women think you look nice as well. And women notice this too, as far as drug users go. They know that something is not right. They can't quite maybe put their finger on it, but they will know. So it's kind of like when a woman gets like all these surgeries or whatever and has, just this completely unnatural look. Like when she smiles, like she doesn't even wrinkle, or like she's got these just ridiculous lips. Like you may even like see her walk coming towards you and you're like, dang, she's kind of looking fine, right? And then as soon as she gets close, you're like, ugh, what the hell is that? So you know immediately that something's wrong. And not to mention, that's just the face. Once you get into the other stuff, like I swear to you, I'm not going to mention who, but there is a rapper chick who I saw her in person, and I could not believe my eyes when her backside was a plateau, like I mean hanging out from the ground, like it was like as stiff as a board. Dude, it looked nasty, man. You just cannot look at this stuff and think it's correct, okay? And the same is true. This is the male part of this for at least the body, right? So like when you just look like a freak. And here's the other part. Now you're a slave to looking like a freak. So that's the other unsung part about this, where you do these drugs, and now in order to maintain your look, you now are bound to this. As a matter of fact, like when I was doing all the research on this, like all the guys on the forums, they were calling this your dark side, okay? They were calling it the dark side. They'd say, welcome to the dark side, like for people who are new and asking questions and want to get on some gear, right? So they go, welcome to the dark side. Well, the reason is because the dark side of it is because now you're stuck, okay? You basically have to use this. The other thing too is, even if, let's say, you get off, your post-cycle treatment may not take. There are some people, for example, who their body never restores or fully restores their natural testosterone production. So they now must be on TRT for their whole life, or they will never feel normal again. They'll just feel like a lethargic slug if they're not on it. So that's the other thing about it. The other part is like body dysmorphia. Like these people basically are the opposite of like an anorexic person in the jacked, shredded, ripped regard. Like any imperfection that they see in their eyes in the mirror is just like, they are gonna take more drugs and work at that muscle or whatever they think is wrong with them. But they have anorexia like mindset. Like they're just not good enough no matter what. So that's like the really dark side. But there's something else too. So basically there's like a sweet spot of a good physique, right? And by the way, in order to gain that, you are natural, okay? So in order to have this good physique, there is a point at which even natural lifters, and you have a great physique for a long time, you actually surpass this like sweet spot into after the threshold of being, now you're like too jacked. Okay. I know of a lot of guys who they'll touch on this point where now it's like, hey, I've been at this great physique for so long, but now it's just like, I just lift so much and these certain muscles, now it becomes like disproportional. Well, on any enhancement drugs, that's going to happen very quick. Okay. And like quicker than you thought. So you just look like a freak. Okay. For the fourth time. So basically, like, why would someone lie even? Like, here's another aspect that not a lot of people talk about. I mean, it's obviously known, but no one really can, like, let's articulate why people lie when they say, like, there's famous channels, Natty or Not or whatever the heck it is, where it's like, are you a natural? Okay. Some of them say, no, I'm not. Okay. And that's fine. Like, I get that, dude. People go through stuff where they're like, yeah, I want to take this stuff. They want to get big, and they do. Okay. But then there's the people who are more deceptive in what they do because they lie about it, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that if you work out like them, if you supplement and take the supplements that they sell you, that eventually you will look like them. That is kind of even though they're not saying that exactly because they're a professional, but they're basically saying, look, I've done this, guys, and this is what you got to do. Okay. Well, if they're saying, no, they've never been on that, or if they have been on that and they're telling you that you don't have to, well, then you will never look like them. And all of it was, you could have just saved your money and not bought supplements. And supplements, another good idea. I'll probably touch on that in another video. But that's kind of why I believed Mike Menser. Now, obviously, he was a professional bodybuilder, and you're not a professional bodybuilder unless you are on a ton of anabolic steroids. But here's why I believed him in regards to his workout method, because he never was really trying to sell, like, he was never like a gym huckster or like a protein huckster, or like, as he would call it, like, he's never really trying to sell you something on his, on like why or how do I say this? He never really was trying to sell you on something like that. It was more that, like, it was like, look, try this. It works. I now understand this is all it takes for muscles to grow. And, you know, he's very simple, and is like, he would say things like, all you need is your diet. You don't need like extra stuff, and like, quit buying all these powders and all this other stuff. Right. So I basically got to believing him for that reason. Right. So what a travesty would it be if I would be here sitting telling you, hey, you can get a good physique in an hour, like, or 45 minutes to like 1.5 hours a week in the gym, maximum 1.5 hours maximum a week. And then I would go ahead and take the drugs. Right. So really, when I was thinking about it, I was like, why would I say that you could do that and then have not done it myself, right? So that's why I basically am working out for 45 minutes a week, because one, it works, and two, I need to get people to stinking believe it, because they're thinking like I did, I need to work out 5-6 days a week in order to get jacked. And I'm telling you, you simply do not. I know for a fact, I've already done the numbers. I am 5 weeks out from a full-blown six-pack and being like 12% body fat, and probably 8 to 9 weeks out from being 8% body fat. And I'm going to hit those goals because it's already literally all just set in stone. All I got to do is keep eating what I'm eating and then go to the gym once a week. It's like stupid simple. But anyhow, I just thought I'd touch on that, and hope that helped.